Well, the UK government has defended its attempts to source additional personal protective equipment for frontline medical staff following widely reported shortages. Well, Chancellor of the Exchequer Rishi Sunak says the government is still improving its sourcing of PPE, both domestically and internationally. It comes as the government's job retention scheme, where employers can apply for money to help retain staff not working, opened. Well, Sunak says over 140,000 applications have been made so far. Well, the UK's daily death toll from COVID-19 has now risen to over 16,500, with 449 new fatalities in hospitals announced. We're joined now from London by our reporter Victoria Smith to tell us a little bit more about all of this. Well, good evening to you, Victoria. Well, the government has come under continued fire because of the lack of PPE, protective equipment. What did the Chancellor say about the delay this time around?
Well, good evening, Isabel. Yes, he did describe it as an international challenge, and it certainly is a challenge for the UK. They've been much criticised, the government, as you say, for the shortage of personal protective equipment on the front line and for key workers as well. Now, the UK was expecting a shipment from Turkey of 400,000 hospital gowns. That hasn't arrived. It was expected last night, and there is a delay on that. They have received a shipment of 140,000 gowns from Myanmar, but if you bear in mind that the NHS staff, the frontline staff, are using 150,000 gowns a day, you'll see the kind of problem the government has, so much so that it's been forced to ask international fashion companies such as Burberry to start making protective equipment for them.
And what about the job retention scheme? 140,000 applications made by firms today. But is that going to be enough, given the scale of the problem, and how much is this going to end up costing?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, when they invented this scheme, the job retention scheme, they estimated a cost of £42 billion. They've now extended the scheme for longer than they originally planned by an extra month, which could add some £12 billion to the bill. But if that scheme has to be extended even further, if the lockdown continues, then the bill rises, and we don't know what the final figure will be. However, the Chancellor was at pains to say that the scheme started smoothly when it opened, when it went live this morning at 8 a.m. and by 4 p.m. UK time, 140,000 people are thought to have applied for the scheme, and that indeed will help, if it works, some 1 million people. Let me tell you about some of the big firms that have furloughed their staff who will be applying to this scheme. They include high street chains such as clothing retailers, Oasis, Warehouse and Primark, fast food chains such as KFC and McDonald's, big airlines such as BA and Virgin Atlantic, the car company Nissan, the energy firm OVO, and controversially, some football clubs. For non-playing staff, they've applied for the grant as well.